So happiness. Sweet Pea's Love Link story. Synchronicities I can easily share. The full-on miraculous are carried closer to the vest and not likely to be freely shared by me or any number of people. So, a synchronistic day that changed the entire course of my life you shall have. From my earliest memories, I carried 4 life paths on the top of my to-do list. This list was in place from an early age. I remember my list from the house my family lived in until we moved near the end of my year in kindergarten. My list had at the top, mother. After that, the remaining 3 had about equal importance. They were teacher, artist, and nurse. Through elementary school, junior high and high school, the goals were unchanged: mother, teacher, artist, and nurse. In high school, during my senior year, we had career day, during which all the seniors were taken by bus to the local junior college. We were asked to choose 2 majors and then we were able to attend an introductory lecture by the head of that department. I do not remember the first lecture I attended as it was not memorable enough to be placed in my long-term memory. The second lecture, however, was devastating, and I came away discouraged to the point of making the decision then and there to not enter that major. The major was nursing. The professor said we must be A or B students if we expected to do well in nursing. I was a solid C- student who did not find high school interesting. I got A in modern dance and all my art classes. In the other classes, there was an occasional B, many C's, and a few D's. I immediately gave up the dream of becoming a nurse. After high school I started general studies courses in the junior college with the ultimate plan to be an art major and become a fine artist. However, I married at 19 and was the primary support for my husband, including putting him through school, so I dropped out of college. At 23 I was pregnant with our first child. I forgot about college altogether for many years. From 1969 until 1985, raising my family was where most of my energy went. I still painted and drew as time allowed while managing a family with 3 lively daughters. I taught art classes as a volunteer at the local elementary schools. In this way I combined teaching and my love for creative expression. I became a La Leche League leader and lectured locally to mothers, but I also lectured at the Red Cross, YMCA, a local college, and a university. A few years later I added Bradley Childbirth Education, again speaking at Red Cross, YMCA, and at the college level as a guest speaker. I found an opportunity, in this way, to combine teaching and my love for the healing arts. I still had no intention of obtaining a degree in nursing as I thought I was not bright enough. In 1985, when my youngest daughter was 4, I decided it was time for me to return to school. I had been talking with several people about the pros and cons of art versus education. I was leaning toward art, but with a caveat. The major would be a practical one. I decided to get a degree in graphic design. I spent hours going through classes offered at college and planned out the curriculum for my first semester in college. Less than 24 hours before signing up, my father became ill. My mother called the paramedics, and she also called me. I arrived while the paramedics were there, and I was the one my mother had talked to the paramedics and answer their many questions. My father was transported to a local hospital. I followed in my car. Upon entering the I was ushered into my father's cubicle. The nurse came in and began asking questions. I was the one who answered the lion's share of the questions. At one point, the nurse stopped, looked at me, and asked, "Are you a nurse?" I felt like the entire world stopped. I had the sensation of falling thousands of feet, down an unexpected rabbit hole. From what felt like was far away, I simply answered, "No." However, here is the thing, I wanted to lie to her. I wanted to lie as I had never lied before. I wanted to tell her I was a nurse. Then, the moment passed, and I forgot about it. Daddy was admitted. My mother and I went up to the floor with him. We went through another intake process, answering questions for the nurse. Then, it happened again. The nurse stopped, looked at me, and asked, "Are you a nurse?" Once again, I felt like the entire world stopped. I had the sensation of falling thousands of feet down that same rabbit hole, once again. From far away, I painfully dragged out the single, horrifically painful word, "No," walking out of the room, to join my mother standing in the hallway. I told my mother, "I am changing my major. Instead of graphic design, I am entering the nursing program." My mother's response was frosting on the cake. "Oh, thank God," she said. I scrambled home and spent long hours, deep into the night, creating new education plans, starting with the first classes I would need to become a registered nurse. In the end, I graduated on the college dean's list with an A- average. Not too bad for a C- high school student who had been told she did not have what it takes. I have now achieved the 4 major career goals I set for myself and done it with flying colors. I am mother to 3 beautiful daughters. I have worked as an educator in many notable settings during my years as a community educator for a regional medical center. As an artist, there have been numerous opportunities to bring my creations to my little world, both on canvas and in clay. While I have never sold anything, when someone has wanted a piece badly, I have made a gift of it. Although I have occasionally won awards in art contests, displaying pieces I created in my home, and the homes of my daughters, is enough for me. Then there is nursing. The career I had given up on. There was a force in the universe that did not give up on me in that respect. I tried to ignore the calling to be a nurse, until it became clear how painful it would be not to follow that path. If my father had not fallen ill on that very day, and if not 1, but 2 nurses, had not asked me if I were a nurse on that day, my entire life path would have been different. A day earlier, and I might have had time to talk myself out of it. One day later, and I might have been stubborn enough to stick with the path of least resistance that I had already chosen. Acorn, in a discussion with Sweet Pea regarding key influencers in her life, particularly the professor who gave her the impression that she was not smart enough to pursue a career in nursing, it became clear that this author had misinterpreted his statement as a disempowering message. However, Sweet Pea took his words as a statement of fact. She also stated that, had she taken the class when it was offered the first time, she might not have been prepared to do as well as she eventually did. This story also shows how synchronicities and/or divine intervention can change the trajectory of one's life. When you are aligned with your purpose, and allow for divine timing, things will naturally fall into place. Be open to divine intervention and divine timing in one's life. Often what may seem like a disempowering seed may be the catalyst that puts you in a divine love link to your destiny. Be on the lookout for divine love links in your life. Thank you for listening to So Happiness.